Well, nearly 6 minutes have elapsed. That means about 4 minutes remain here in the Firestone Fast 6 as we get set to set the starting lineup for the 38th running of the Toyota Grand Prix of Long Beach. But while we set the qualifying lineup for you in about 5 or 6 minutes, remember, it's really going to be jumping. It really is. Regardless of what happens in the Firestone Fast 6, Dario Franchitti is going to start on pole tomorrow. Joseph Newgarden, who did not make the Firestone Fast 6, he's going to start on the outside of the front row tomorrow. And Justin Wilson, who we just talked to, he didn't make the Firestone Fast 6. He was 9th quickest. He's going to start on the inside of the second row. This is all because of the 10-spot penalty handed down to all 11 Chevy-powered drivers. Now the big question is going to be, Mark James, will we see a Chevy-powered driver do this weekend what one did 2 weeks ago when Will Power went from 9th to the win at Barber? Can Will Power or any of these other Chevy-powered drivers start 11th or worse and win this race this weekend here come tomorrow?
Some of the drivers accomplished at St. Pete and certainly at Barber. Let's face it, as beautiful and as picturesque as Barber Motorsports Park is, purpose-built for motorcycles, and the knock against it in the beginning was the fact that it was next to impossible to be able to pass. And I'm not saying that it's easy, but it's certainly easier. And it happened much more frequently in the race 2 weeks ago. So maybe it's the combination of the changes to the chassis and the new engine configuration between the three manufacturers that has made passing a much more different animal. Certainly some of the characteristics of this tried and true course has changed. The rumble strips in turn 5 for one. And again, I continue to believe that cars are going through here a lot faster in turn number 9 than they have the past couple of years. At least that's the way it seems to me. So, Mike, I don't think it's out of the question. And then you throw the caveat of pit strategy into the game that, boy, anything can happen, and it's not out of the question for Chevy to come from mid-pack to win this race. Okay,
it looks like everyone, Jake Query, is going to be competitors here in this Firestone Fast 6. Right now, Ryan Briscoe is P1, and I think everyone that's out, all 6 drivers that are out, are in fact on reds, Jake, as you've got cars heading towards you in 5.
Yeah, that is correct. Ryan Hunter-Ray just went by into turn number 6, and perhaps Dario Franchitti, who just went by and we know will be the pole sitter into turn number 1, perhaps Dario Franchitti is saying, you know what, it's great that I've got the pole so long as I keep this clean, but I want to do it the old-fashioned way, because by all stretch of the imagination here, they're going for it. I mean, they went out on reds. He's done everything. Ryan Briscoe went past. You are correct. Everybody's on those softer red compounds. Dario Franchitti, the 4-time ISOT IndyCar Series champion, into turn number 6. Will Power into turn number 1.
Yeah, and Will Power right now is P1 at a minute 8.894. Ryan Briscoe is next at a minute 9.132. By the way, in the Firestone Fast 6, that's the only time you're going to get credit for a record lap, and Will Power betters his lap from last season with that previous lap here in the Firestone Fast 6, so he will be quickest, at least in the books for right now, at a minute 8. Now it's Ryan Briscoe at a minute 8.889 with a minute remaining, then Will Power at a minute 8.894. So, Mark James, as cars head to you, it looks like Jake's right. They're all going for it.
Yeah, it doesn't surprise me, Mike, and this is not a negative, but let's face it, this is an ego-driven business, and I don't really think that any of these drivers, especially Dario Franchitti, they don't want to pick up the newspaper and read headlines about the fact that they were handed the pole and given the pole based on a penalty. They want to be able to say that they earned it. A lot of Chevys out there certainly wanting to say the same thing, and Mike, let's face it, as we mentioned before, that 1 point can be oh so valuable, not just this point, but any point that you get for winning pole. And that's why it's still important, I think, to these drivers. That's why they all went out there on reds, and that's why they all were doing what they can to get to the pole.
Okay, less than 10 seconds remain. We are on board and watching Ryan Briscoe make his way through turn number 10. Briscoe right now is P2. Will Briscoe be able to beat out his teammate with this lap as he completes, I believe, his final lap, and the checkers are out, so Briscoe will not get another shot. He will on his final lap of the session. Briscoe turns the lap at a minute 8.609. That means in 3 consecutive weeks, 3 different Penske drivers have won pole position. How about that? So Briscoe goes to P1 with his final lap of the session at a minute 8.609. Will Power winds up second quick. Don't think on that final lap he's going to be able to get Briscoe. will not. At a minute 8.707. Ryan Hunter-Ray winds up P3 at a minute 8.923. Wow, everybody quick in this session. Dario Franchitti at a minute 9.033. EJ Vizo at a minute 9.063, and James Hinchcliffe at a minute 9.211. So give the pole to Ryan Briscoe. However, that only means that that's good for an 11th spot on the grid. But as Mark mentioned, you do get the bonus point, you do get the check, and you do get to say, I won pole at Long Beach this year.